Everyone, it's LS, and this is another speed VOD review. Today I have the glorious, magnificent NA first seed TeamLiquid versus Edward Gaming here. I am extremely excited to watch this game, as Twitch chat tells me that it is going to be one of the best. Alright, so Aurelia and Akali being banned away immediately by TeamLiquid, Edward Gaming responding with Aatrox and Urgot, taking them both off the table, which is very interesting for me. Oh, that's no Faye. So now Xayah being banned away by TeamLiquid. I wonder if this means that we'll see a Kai'Sa picked up immediately. Yep, and okay. So Kai'Sa is selected, and now it's passed back over to Edward Gaming. Xayah's banned away, so we're not going to see any Jakan shenanigans. It doesn't mean that Rakan might not still be picked. I don't really know. Again, I don't like to read into the draft way too much beyond just like basic surface level stuff, because Worlds has just commenced and there's not enough on any of the teams. So there's that. Alistar now being picked by Edward Gaming, so they have Lucian, Alistar. So it looks like they're actually going to potentially focus heavily on bottom lane. And that could actually be a problem, especially if TeamLiquid actually just goes for a Kai'Sa-centric team composition with the scaling and whatnot. Gragas now being hovered and finally locked in by TeamLiquid. If you're TL, you can probably actually just take the support here. You don't need to show any more of your hand than you already have. I think that picking top laners would actually be very bad, because I think there's actually so many top laners. Okay, well, Jesus fucking Christ. This is actually an interesting spot by Edward Gaming. You can either choose top lane and then get your junglers banned out and then still pick a jungler, or you can pick a jungler here and then get top laners banned out, which I think is fine as well, because I don't think that enough bans have actually come out. They end up locking in Ornn, but I think in a spot like this, even a tank killer like Fiora is actually quite nice. For Ray up in top lane, I do think that would be the alternative, but maybe they're just actually going to try to focus on a mid jungle and bottom lane centric team composition to shut down TeamLiquid, and they don't really care about impact on Sion, and they're just going to put Ray on the Ornn up in top. So now the bans, Braum is coming out first, Talia now being banned away by TeamLiquid. That would be one of the most aggressive and proactive jungler picks that Edward Gaming could actually go for right here. Like Ivor locking it in. Okay, Shen now being banned away by Edward Gaming. So I guess they're maybe assuming that there would be a Shen support. And now TeamLiquid with the final ban ends up going with a Syndra. Maybe Pobelter not feeling that confident against Syndra. It does seem like the Chinese teams, I guess, and the Korean teams are really valuing her. And I do wonder if it has anything to do with disrespect. Edward Gaming now hovering a Nocturne, and they actually end up locking it in. So well, I think that if we do see a very powerful mid laner that is able to have a standalone, then we're basically seeing a enormous amount of dive, and maybe that's actually a foreshadowing of what Edward Gaming was planning to do with the Tahm Kench ban happening as early as it did. TeamLiquid now picking the Galio. What? What? Yeah, load. Yeah, buffer, YouTube. Buffer. I need to fucking buffer. I'm buffering, YouTube. What? Why would you take Leona? What about this team composition says that they don't want to come on to you? You need to just protect Kai'Sa. What? You don't take Leona. You just protect Kai'Sa. This is so off theme. I fucking hate seeing this in card games. If any of you jerks in chat are if you're playing like MTG Arena right now, okay, or if you play Hearthstone, imagine drafting a control deck, okay, and then all of a sudden you include something in it that is only meant for aggro. is only meant for aggro. This is so, like, okay, there's a theme here, right? There's a theme. This is off theme. This is completely off theme. It makes absolutely no sense. You do not, like, so it looks like what TeamLiquid's doing is they want to go aggressive. What they need to realize is that Edward Gaming wants them to go aggressive, and Edward Gaming wants to go aggressive. So TeamLiquid should have acknowledged this just from the initial, like, even right here, you can tell what's coming. This is like foreshadowing what's most likely going to come in these two picks. But then when the Nocturne's locked in, I don't know in what fucking universe you think to yourself, you know what? I think that Leona would be an excellent pick here. There are so many better picks that are available than choosing a Leona. Not only are you Leona into Alistar, right? But the support pick is just so out of place. What do you actually want Leona to do? You want to go on janitor duty and press Q and try to hit Nocturne after he goes on to Kai'Sa? I don't actually know what this draft is. So now you're like, you have synergy with Galio, you have synergy, I guess, with Sion, if Sion ends up hitting an ultimate or something like that. But when the entire Edward Gaming team composition is designed to kill Kai'Sa, and then you pick this, I don't know what you're doing. So let's talk about what all the team comps are going to want to do. So Azir is a standalone mid laner. He can fight 1v2, he can get away from ganks, he can do all of that. That's what I talked about before he was locked in. And the reason that you need a standalone mid is because if you're going to pick Nocturne, Nocturne wants the ability to say, hey, I'm just going to go like this endlessly and control his side of the two rivers, right? So this is like mid lane. He's going to control right here, and he can control right here. And then he can just go like this. If the enemy team composition is too weak, which the enemy team composition is weak, they're very weak up and top. And now down and bottom, iBoy and Mako should actually be able to fare quite well. So as long as you have a standalone mid laner that allows you to just juggle through the jungle like this as Nocturne, you can end up getting a massive lead, and you put a lot of pressure onto TeamLiquid, and the onus is now on Xsmithy to find holes in EDG's vision and then try to make plays happen, which is going to be very, very fucking difficult because it should be almost impossible to assume that Pobelter and Xsmithy are going to be able to do something to Azir in mid lane. It's impossible to assume that a blue side Sion and a blue side Gragas is going to be able to do anything to the red side Ornn, especially because Gragas does not want to be pathing to the left-hand side of the map because their main focus and their main carry is making sure that Kai'Sa is okay because she's the only damage on the entire team. Some people will say that Galio does a little bit of damage. Galio does not do enough damage, especially not with how slippery some of the champions on EDG are. So it's really weird because there's counter synergy inside of TL's team composition, and then it's just no theme. And we saw another team do this as well. We saw Fnatic do it. We saw Fnatic just completely botch everything. We saw a terrible draft from Genji yesterday that was very, very bland. And while I understand what they were doing, it just didn't really make... Was it Genji or was it Afrika? The really poor draft. But anyways, with that being said, I think that Clearlove has the luxury of just being able to path endlessly throughout his own jungle. If Impact or Pobelter misstep, then there is probably likely ways for him to coordinate ganks, but I don't think that he has to do that. And also, one of the things that I guess TeamLiquid can maybe look for with blue side Galio is blue side Galio recalls into bottom lane ganks as long as Galio has priority in mid lane. Blue side Sion recalling after shoving in Ray's Ornn, and then recalling and trying to make a bot lane party with a 5-man bot lane off of a, whatchamacallit, Sion ult and Galio ult. Okay. If it wasn't for their range problems, I mean, so some people are asking like what supports. You could play very ballsy and have Xsmithy just abandon top entirely and play around bottom. And you could probably do something Like, I mean, the supports I want to suggest, people are just going to look at it and be like, what the fuck, right? Because obviously the best support in this exact situation would have been Tahm Kench. But obviously Tahm Kench is not available, and then Braum was banned away. So I think that you're looking at something like, you're looking at Taric, or you're looking at, if you can make it out of laning phase and concede, that you just have to the problem with this is that you can't just actually concede and try to scale into late game. Taric would, yeah, I think actually Taric would probably be fine. Janna is good as well. Janna and Taric are both actually quite good here. Thresh, I mean, Thresh isn't great, but he's still better than Leona. See, that's one of the main problems here, is that there's so many champions that are just better than Leona. Lulu would be, Lulu's not as good. Lulu's not as good. I mean, Lulu's not bad. I mean, God, like, Lulu, Nami, Taric, Janna, those are all fine. They go against what EDG needs, and that's the most important part of it. No, Soraka's too bad. Pyke is really, really bad here. Again, it sort of falls in line with the Leona. So anyways, let's talk about the openings. So Clearlove is already having the time of his life. And Xmithy is just handshaking stuff. Ray getting pushed underneath the turret, but I expect a very boring early game because Clearlove on the Nocturne. It feels so sad when you're playing against a Nocturne in the current meta, because if the lanes are just very bland, then you just know that he gets a free level 6 pass, and it's so aggravating. And you can see that Xmithy trying to come down into bottom. Mako takes a trade, but Doublelift is already getting gutted. Actually ends up using his flash. Now iBoy and Mako are just doing a fantastic job. You can see Clearlove now pathing down into bottom lane, and I think the reason that he's doing this is maybe they suspect that Xmithy is here, and they see that Doublelift is unrelenting with actually recalling. I mean, he doesn't really have to recall. He still has plenty of HP and plenty of mana. Scout doing okay in mid lane. I do think that he is actually behind in CS, assuming that Pobelter hits everything. And this early game is going to just be so slow. This should never work. I don't know what the fuck Ray was just doing, why he was going for that ward. He doesn't need to go for the ward. Looks like that maybe they're going to be hellbent on trying to bring Ray down. They end up trading. Seems, well, it's going to be a 1-for-2, I guess, in the end. Mako's going to go down as well. So these are really nice pickups for TeamLiquid. I don't know why EDG was trying to force that. One of the things, though, that we can talk about with this dive, let's just take a look at it one more time. Okay, so we can see that there's probably like 4 minions. Oh no, okay. There was actually 5 minions that were left over. So you have to factor in the 5 minion gold that iBoy should have, or that Doublelift should have been able to get, right? So you do X multiplied by 5, right? And then you get value Y. This is the amount of gold that you have to also account for. Even though the XP is going to be absorbed by definitely Ole and maybe Doublelift on some of the minions, you have to factor in the missing minion gold from this trade. So it's not just a 1-for-1, okay? If they go 1-for-1 here and Doublelift dies immediately, Mako makes it out, and then iBoy goes down, what ends up happening is Doublelift falls behind in XP, and Doublelift also falls behind in the amount of gold. So it's not just a 1-for-1. iBoy and Mako would end up making out with an advantage. But the fact that TeamLiquid was able to salvage this and turn this into a 1-for-2 is what's really good for them. I just did X times 5 sexy. Ah, shit. Ah, fuck me. What weird letters and numbers I used. Okay. So anyways, that's why iBoy and Mako were trying to force that dive. It's unfortunate for them that TeamLiquid ends up salvaging it with a 2-for-1. If it was just a 1-for-1, it's a massive win for iBoy and Mako. And that's what I was just trying to explain to you guys. Okay, so anyways, now at this point you can see Xmithy trying to come back down into bottom lane, but the lane state's actually really bad. Ole goes in, misses his ultimate, Mako knocks him away, Gragas ult knocks Mako into the wall. He ends up going down, and this is actually a really big win for TL. I don't think that EDG should actually be falling susceptible to these type of plays, but it's working out for TeamLiquid. Even though Double Lift is behind almost 20 CS, things are actually still going okay. And Pobelter getting poked out a little bit. Nocturne does have ultimate, so they have to be very careful. Also, one of the really scary things. So let's talk about something here. Xmithy ends up getting the Scuttle Crab. This is very, very important. Because during the blue handoff time, where Xmithy would go to hand off the blue onto Galio, or maybe even clear out his left-hand side jungle, you notice that both top laners don't actually have teleport. During this exact moment, depending on when it happens, let's say that Xmithy clears this and starts pathing here immediately. What? Azir spends time in mid lane, and then he ends up CSing the wave. Galio backs up. Gragas goes like this. Gragas goes like that. Galio stands around his turret. The next wave that's going to come out of the Nexus is still waiting to get into mid. Galio and then Gragas start on the blue buff. As Galio and Gragas are starting on the blue buff, Azir escorted Galio back to his turret. Azir turns around, goes to his blue buff. Azir gets the blue from Nocturne, and then Azir with the blue paths down into the river while Galio and Gragas are still preoccupied at the blue, and they can actually use this timing with the fact that Mako's back here now and Lucian's back here now, and they can actually just capture the Mountain Drake. If they capture the Mountain Drake at this exact time, Galio comes back into mid, shoves the wave into Azir. Azir's now underneath his turret. It's impossible for Gragas to coordinate any sort of a gank. In doing this as well, because again, they spent resources, they pulled the bottom lane down into the Mountain Drake. Eventually, TeamLiquid shoves the wave back into bottom lane. Nocturne has not used ultimate, and now Double Lift and Ole have to be cautious of Nocturne because they know that he's on the right-hand side, and Ornn is impervious to a gank. So, the Scuttle Crab's really big. Okay? Scuttle Crab's super big. Scout actually didn't push out the entire wave before getting the blue. If that Scuttle Crab's not there right now, and had Scout pushed out this wave before getting the blue, and if Scuttle Crab wasn't there and Nocturne just goes down like this, they can start the Mountain Drake. And you can see that Mako and iBoy can shove in the wave, and then it's just a free mountain. And then if they end up pulling up and going towards the Mountain Drake or whatever, Double Lift and Ole have control over the lane. But then due to the proximity of where the minions are in the lane, because it's on the halfway point of TL and it's an even minion wave, this means the reinforcing minions from TL are going to be stronger, reinforce the backline, they will have more spellcaster minions, and naturally it pushes into EDG, they then create the freeze. Clearlove then goes over to his wolves, he's on the right-hand side of the map, Gragas on the left-hand side of the map, Gragas can't do anything top lane, and Double Lift and Ole now have to be afraid of a Nocturne ultimate as Scout is underneath his turret and safe from any sort of a gank from Xmithy, and Pobelter can't do anything to help out bottom lane, so Double Lift and Ole end up getting zoned out of XP and also losing gold. That's why the Scuttle Crab's so important. But also, Scout dropped the ball by not pushing the wave a little bit faster. Every little thing matters. Xmithy now back on the right-hand side of the map, cleared out a ward, and you can see top lane just continues to be an island, and this is what we expected from Champ Select. So TL, they do have the Kai'Sa. The Kai'Sa is a little bit stunted right now in her growth, but I do think that TL should probably be looking to make something happen. NA teams are consistently picking this Galio, but it doesn't seem like they're doing stuff with it that I would expect Galio to be doing, and so it's a little bit surprising. Clearlove now finally pulling ahead of Xmithy in terms of levels. He also already has his jungler item, to be expected, as Xmithy, well, he just ends up killing the Scuttle Crab, catching up to Clairlove. He's still a little bit behind in the XP department, but not the end of the world. Now, Scout has his first core item completed. Ray is about to complete his first core item. And so with the teleport coming up, actually, for both parties, there's a way for Ray to save his teleport, especially because all of the lanes across the map are so healthy. Ray could shove out the lane really hard, recall, get the Abyssal Mask, and then run from Fountain down into the Dragon. And if Impact doesn't go down into bottom and actually continues pathing up into top, it forces Impact to use his teleport. Then depending on how the fight ends up unfolding, Ray can use his teleport to go back up to top lane, and it basically counts as a kill, as he's going to get 2 waves that Impact can't get. So even if a kill doesn't end up happening inside of River or like around River or something, a kill does happen through the minions and the XP that ends up being acquired by Ray in top lane. But, I mean, this is all like, what if they do this? Okay. TL now starting the Mountain Drake. And teleport not up for Ray. Mako come. Why did Ole just go in? What? What? Good thing we got Leona. Oh, this is so fucking bad. Run for your lives. Why? Just get the fucking Drake. What are you doing? It's like watching Hercule versus Cell. Holy shit, let me find the highlight. Wait. Hercule versus Cell. It's like fucking Cell's Alistar. You guys watch DBZ? It's fucking Ole. Amazing. This is like all of NA. They're watching. They're like, yeah, he's gonna fuck that Alistar up. They're gonna get the Mountain Drake. TeamLiquid's so good. Oh my god. Ole's about to fucking boom that Cell. Amazing. That's the Zenith Blade, by the way. In case you missed that, hold on, let me show you. In case you missed the Zenith Blade. Right there, you see that? You saw that long extension? Look familiar? Right there, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Jeez. Oh, shit. Amazing. This is Leona's Q, by the way. Fucking Alistar's an ult right now. He's taking no damage. Oh my god. Alright, now we're about to see what actually happens when Nocturne and friends arrive. Ole thinks he's so good he doesn't realize. Ah, shit. Alright, well. Oh, Jesus. Fucking Azir wall. Oh, man, I gotta kick out of this. TL has no fucking clue what they're doing with engages. It's been like this in 2 games. Both games of TeamLiquid now that I've VOD reviewed, they don't seem to understand priority, like with what's going on, in terms of like what needs to happen. There's no reason for Ole to go on Mako there. Just get the Mountain Drake. Accept that the situation's already kind of like weird and bad. I mean, if they get the Mountain Drake and this stuff doesn't happen and iBoy's not getting all this damage, look. See this? iBoy gets all this damage on double lift. If they can just hug a wall and wait for Galio, and I mean even the Scion ultimate or the Scion teleport isn't good. This all just really sucks. I mean, they all should just be inside of the pit. Galio ultimate dissuades EDG from coming in, and they all just flash over the wall. And now, because there's no neutral objective on the map, and EDG brought all their members down to the Dragon Pit, TL ends up resetting to lanes, but they don't have their flashes. But I mean, that's a loss that they have to accept in exchange for the Mountain Drake. You could talk about like the leading up to the mountain and stuff, but yeah. And we can take another look at it. So the Zenith Blade, I don't know why Double Lift diverted his attention. He's taking so much damage, no way to protect Kaisa. And then they end up killing Clearlove, and then at this point, it should have just been run for the hills. Everyone was so late with deciding to run for the hills. Like, they're just so indecisive in the fight. They think they can get away with so much more than they can. Oh, it was really good. Pobelter ended up getting the blue. Xmithy is doing very good at getting the Scuttle Crabs. So at this point, EDG is only ahead about 1k gold. Scout gets the blue buff. Double Lifts are really far behind in the CS department. Oh god, what is this? is this it? I fucking love it. Ah, shit. It's like saying a diamond player looks clean in bronze. Alright. I gotta retweet it. Alright, do I retweet it, Twitch chat? I'll retweet it. I gotta give you guys the memes. I gotta retweet it. It almost reads like a copy pasta. The way that TL... Oh, man. It's a copy pasta. I expect nothing but the best from Reddit comments the next time TL plays. I expect this copy pasta to be well received. Oh man. All right, so let's talk about the map movements again. Okay. All right, so bottom tier 1 turret is down, but TL is actually behind on tempo. Orin's already there. I actually can't see how many minions Orin has, but maybe it's correct to not CS it immediately and stockpile big minion wave and then crash it so that Scion, who's a little bit late and delayed to bottom, would have more of a rough time. Cloud Drake's coming up, which neither team should prioritize. Okay. And now iBoy, Mako, and Clearlove around the top left-hand side. Herald is actually quite a big objective for either team to get because it's Galio and Azir. These are two of the most important champions to take away their mid-tier 1 turret from. Okay. And you can see the pings now going on the Herald. Cloud Drake is not something that should be taken. You can just see that TL is actually really, really, really slow to respond to rotations and macro plays. And all of EDG is in mid lane. This is not a team fight that TL should be looking to take. They're too scattered. They're too out of position. Their lanes are really, really bad. Why are they starting Herald? Oh, hold on, hold on. I gotta cue the fucking music. I gotta cue the fucking music. I haven't seen this game, but I feel like I know what's about to happen. Shit! Why the fuck are they starting Herald? Why are they starting Herald? The way TL sets up vision executes on an objective. What are they doing? They have two super terrible fucking lanes. They're like, you know what? I think this Herald timing's really good here. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Oh, God. Alright. Total damage, elastic fight. Alright. No! Alright. So EDG is actually just bouncing lanes. I actually think this is probably pretty good for them. Nocturne's about to complete. What I want to see out of EDG. All right, so whoa. Not yet, YouTube. Jesus, it's getting sensitive. All right. So I know that I know YouTube's excited. All right, so what's going on here is what does TL need versus what they want? You ever do this in school? All right, what does TL need? All right, so what they need right now is EDG to take a sloppy. They need a sloppy, like a sloppy 3v3 or a sloppy 4v4, right? With Kaisa, they need a sloppy. Oh, that's not okay. They need a sloppy 3v3 or 4v4 with Kaisa, right? They need this to occur around mid or top, right? This is what TL needs. Right now, they need this to happen. All right. They need EDG to fight before more items, right? So, I mean, this plays into this too. EDG needs to fight with more items, okay? So now, if you're EDG, and now what does EDG want? Well, EDG wants kills, right? They want mid-tier 1. They want mid-tier 1. They want top-tier 1, right? But the reality is that this isn't necessary. Mid-tier 1's not necessary. Top-tier 1 isn't necessary to the win con. They don't need kills. All they need to do is ensure that these two things don't happen. If these two... Now, you'll notice how what TeamLiquid wants is around mid and top. This goes into what EDG wants, right? They want mid-tier 1, they want top-tier 1. This is TeamLiquid's only hope back into the game. So everything EDG wants goes out the fucking window. And everything they need to do just comes down to stopping these two things from happening. And that's how you win in tournaments. Oh god, I feel it. I fucking feel it. I'm tingling. I see Galio and oh yeah. Oh, shit. They needed a sloppy 3v3 or a 4v4, and they brought everyone. Like, let's just look at this, okay? So you can see that they miss the Leona ultimate. Leona does not have her ult available, okay? Mid lane is stable. Bottom lane is stable, right? But they don't have the Leona ult. They see Mako, they see iBoy, they see 4 people, right? They see 4 members, right? Ray has teleport. And then because EDG has defensive position because they have the superior concave and TL's running into them. Now, what would I define as a sloppy fight? I would call a sloppy fight Mako or Clearlove trying to go on to double lift. So TL needs to try to induce it, or EDG missteps and Ole ults them and they end up getting a pick. That would define sloppy, right? TL running into a superior concave with Ray having teleport is not sloppy. This does not fall under the 3v3 or the 4v4 that I was just talking about a second ago. So when I see them bringing Galio up, I already know this is the beginning of the end. Galio should still be in mid. He should CS this wave, and then he should go over to the left because they have absolute vision on EDG. You concede mid tier 1. Gragas just stays around Galio. You push this in. Ornn comes up into mid. Ornn eats the wave here. Eventually, iBoy backs up, eats his red. Nocturne backs up. Azir stays in top lane. Nocturne or Clearlove recalls. Clearlove goes to the bottom right-hand side of the map, and then eventually Impact shoves the wave back up to here. Ornn goes from here through here. It meets the wave right here. He's then in close proximity with Clearlove, who's going to eat his wolves and then his Gromp. And then iBoy stands and takes the baton off from mid lane because Ornn just rotated down into bottom. And then Scout shoves in one more wave, recalls, and then they abandon top entirely because they already get the mid tier 1 turret. And then what you end up doing is you do 0, 3, 2 for EDG. And then Ornn shoves out the wave down into bottom. The other 3 members advance forward, and then you get vision control in the red side jungle of TeamLiquid. And then you look to have a 5-man in bottom. And while you're looking to have a 5-man in bottom, TL's wave, due to the minions, pushes back out in mid and top, which then means that when you reset, you allocate the golds into the 2 carries next to the closest main neutral objective, which is Baron. So this whole fight was just really bad. I assume that the game's over. I hope that there's one more song left in us. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that we got one song left. Oh, man. All right. Let's see here. So now EDG, they have a good top lane. I don't like how they're just backing up. I think they should rotate top, tap those minions, leave one member left in mid, get the blue buff. They're sort of doing that. They're tapping mid. They're not tapping the top minions. I don't like that. I think Clearlove can tap these minions, just Baron enhance them, and then come around like this. Because TL's already going to concede this. So then Clearlove comes around like this, these minions are tapped, they crash it into the wave, and then they can just path like this as the siege minions and stuff are laying waste to the tier 3 turret. They can rotate like that and then apply pressure with the giant minion wave, because especially they're going to have reinforcing waves there. Not as clean as it could be. You can see Clearlove's not actually really doing anything, but I mean, if TL actually handshakes this fight, they can't spell League of Legends. This would be the time in which they could have rotated. Like, at this exact moment, they can all just rotate, and some people are going to be like, no, they can all, and all that's, no, you can't. That's not how that works. Alright. So now it looks like they're just intent on actually getting the mid-tier 1 turret. And this is basically EDG's only chance, or this is their only option at this point, because they lost the opportunity with top and mid, or top and bottom waves. Another Clown Drake is coming up. It's a very bad dragon, but EDG probably just wants to pick it up anyway to prevent an Elder. But if they can pick it up, they should make sure to do so at about 2850 to prevent an Elder Dragon from spawning. And now some people... actually, no, I'll talk about it after. It doesn't really matter. TL takes this team fight, I think because they don't feel confident enough to just let the mid inhibitor go down. This is an example of how TL, I think, lacks confidence, or they don't understand what's going on. I don't think that they're confident in their play, and I think that this suggests that they're tilted here. Top lane is very good for TL, and bottom lane is very good for TL. There's absolutely zero reason to take this team fight and not just give up the mid inhibitor and let EDG into the base, because EDG actually can't make use of top or bottom, which means that they're
they're going to back up and go to the dragon. So I think if you put a Korean team in this spot, like if you put Gen G or if you put, Griffin, Afrika, KT, etc., 100% of the time, this is conceded, this goes down, they form a concave all the way back here, and then EDG goes out of the base like this. Maybe one member goes top to try to eat the wave, eat the Gromp, maybe go up and get the Scuttle Crab. The rest of the members go over to the Cloud Drake, and maybe they take the Cloud Drake, they reset, Scout comes off of the base, he comes here, Clear Love comes down like this, eats this, maybe Ornn recalls as well, Ornn starts going down like this, gets the blue buff. Meanwhile, Ivor, I think, most likely goes mid, taps one wave mid, and then moves through river with his support, groups up with the rest of his teammates down in bottom lane. I think that's probably ends up being the macro play, but because because the way that TL sets up vision and executes on objectives and rotates around the map has been clean, even up into Korean standards, I think that's why TL went for this play, is because they thought this would be the best chance that they have in order to win the game. The vision that they set up let them know that it was now or never. Alright, so it looks like that's going to be the end of the game. I'm going to vote on Mad for tomorrow. Just because, I mean, TLT... So, it sort of was like what I expected. I said on Twitter, can someone link me the tweet, actually? Can someone link me... Is this the tweet? Oh, God, hold on. Okay, so where's the Loco Doco thing? Where did Loco reply? Okay. It's like saying that a diamond player looks clean in bronze, but if you've seen Challenger, you know it isn't clean at all. This is like what I compare. I got asked the other day by someone that contacted me from one of the LCS teams what I think of TL, and I know that he thought that maybe I was being disingenuous when I said I think they're bad. Because if you don't really if you're in management and you don't totally follow stuff and you asked me that question and I tell you, yeah, the number one NA seed is actually bad, maybe you just think I'm fucking being negative to be negative, but I'm not. I think that because TL plays in a region where they don't face much resistance, it's like watching a diamond player go into bronze, right? The bronze player can't tell that they're not against a pro because the discrepancy is just way too massive. I've always felt from watching TL, TSM, and other teams, there are so many opportunities that aren't being taken advantage of, and that the punishes have been very suboptimal relative to what has existed, and that I thought that they willingly handshake things that shouldn't be handshaken, but they end up getting away with it because they are stronger pound for pound than the opposition, at least in North America. I said here it's relative to the region. When I watched their games VOD, I saw a consistent pattern of missed opportunities and non-refined gameplay in regards to Punish's macro plays that existed. The fact that they didn't need them to win doesn't change that they were not being utilized. I don't expect the game to be a macro one rather than a NARAM, which is what this game was. This was not a macro game. It was a slugfest that was decided basically within 3 team fights, because TeamLiquid refuses to play macro and seemingly are incapable of doing so when their enemy team is actually competent and strong, which is why I predicted EDG to win out, because pound for pound I assumed that they are, stronger than TL. So that's it for the TL EDG game. I'm voting on Mad tomorrow.